What is good, everyone? Welcome to the channel. Today I'm taking on the recommendation of a few viewers who wanted to hear about what to prepare for or what to get ready when moving to Japan. And I thought, sure, that sounds like a good idea. I know it's been done by other Japan YouTubers, but there's definitely things that they have not talked about that I want to talk about in this video. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to divide the video into 3 points. The first point is the most important thing you need to do when moving to Japan and getting ready for your life here. So even if you skip the rest of the video, at least watch that one point. The second point I'm going to talk about is what to bring to Japan. And I didn't just leave it to my own ideas. I actually put this out to the hive mind of friends and acquaintances who are living here. So I got the viewpoints of some British people, Australians, Canadians, etc. So it's not just an my America-centric view. I actually did a video about what not to bring to Japan, so you can check that out. I'll put a link in the description below. And the third point of this video is going to be mental mindsets and motivation changes that you might want to consider. Basically changing your mind and mode of thinking so that when you come to Japan, you can have your best experience. All right, let's get started. Okay, before getting into the topic, I just want to say thank you to all of the people that have helped me get to 1,000 subscribers. We hit that milestone this week. Thank you very much to each and every one of you. And as such, I want to have a giveaway. If you've watched the channel, you know I love two things: sneakers and Japanese woodblock prints. So I'm actually going to do a Japanese woodblock print giveaway. If this video reaches 50 likes, I'm going to get some lucky viewer a genuine, authentic 19th century Japanese print. And basically all you need to do is hit the like button, make sure you're subscribed, and comment below chodai. Chodai basically means gimme in Japanese. That's all you need to do. Okay, the first thing and most important thing that you need to do when you first arrive in Japan to make your life here as best as it can be is unify your name. When you first arrive, in the first couple of weeks, you're going to receive your Gaikokujin Touroku Shoumeisho, or your Gaijin card or alien registration card. The name on that card will be exactly the same as the name on your passport. That is your official legal name in Japan. And as such, you should use exactly that name on all of your documents, every account you make, every policy you sign, everything. Because if your names don't match in anything, it's going to create problems. You'll want to pay a utility bill, but the name of your utility bill that you used is not the same as the name you put on your bank account, and so they're like, well, these don't match, we can't make the payment. You want to avoid all of those headaches, so make sure your name matches on everything. I'm still not immune to this. I actually had an experience last year where I changed an insurance policy and the agent insisted I didn't need to use my middle name. I'm like, really? Because my legal name is this and I use this name for everything? He's like, no. You see, Japanese people don't have middle names. It's not really going to work in our system. So you definitely don't need to use your middle name. And I'm like, are you sure? He insisted. 2 days later, I get a phone call. And he says, yeah, you were right. You're going to have to come back in and redo that form. I'm like, I told you. Anyway, that's the most important thing. Unify your name, both in, the letters and in the Japanese katakana syllables. Make sure it's the same on everything. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is things to bring. And between myself and all the people I talk to, the truth of the matter is this list gets shorter year by year. You see, with Amazon and Rakuten and the Japanese market generally opening up to a lot more foreign products, there's very few things left that you can't actually get in Japan anymore. The things that you might feel you need to stock up on basically fall into two categories. There are a few items left that just don't have any attraction to Japanese people, and so they're still impossible to get here, or the local product is either inferior or just really expensive compared to your home country. The most famous example probably is when Indian people come to Japan. They come with like suitcases full of spices, because even if they can find certain things here, it's going to be really expensive compared to back home. As for me, I'll start with mine and then go into the hive mind of what my friends told me. For me, there's really only one item left that I just can't get, and that is black licorice. I know, polarizing food, you either love it or you hate it, but in my case, I love it. And in Japanese people's cases, they all hate it. It's not polarizing here, it's just universally disliked. So if you are from Australia, North America, Europe, and you like black licorice, you're gonna have to either bring a huge supply or have people send it to you. Stock up whenever you go back to your home country. The other three items that I get or stock up on when I'm back in the States are sunscreen, over-the-counter medications like pain medication, and deodorant. Now, deodorant was actually the most mentioned item of all the people I talked to. A number of people said deodorant, and basically it's just that the Japanese version is not very good. It's not strong enough for us stinky foreigners. I guess if you're of East Asian descent, you might be all right with the Japanese product, but for the rest of us, yeah, it just doesn't seem to be strong enough. So deodorant, and then over-the-counter medications, for whatever reason, despite everything medical being cheaper in Japan compared to America's messed up system, over-the-counter medications, that's not the case. Over-the-counter medications are much cheaper in America, so I always stock up on bottles of acetaminophen and aspirin and stuff like that. Sunscreen, basically the same price in America and Japan, except in Japan you get a little tiny amount like this as opposed to like a normal nice sized bottle like you'd find in an American drugstore. But that's it. Those four things are the only things that I make sure I have a supply of in my suitcase when I come back to Japan. Now, I didn't memorize what my acquaintances and friends said about what they bring back, so I'm actually gonna look on my phone and read it off to you. So, woman from Canada, deodorant, bras, toothpaste, suntan lotion, sunblock, face cream, sneakers. Shoes was another big one. I'm a size 28 or 28 centimeters or size 10 in US sizes, which is like the largest size where it tops off in most regular Japanese shoe stores. So if you have a bigger foot than that, yeah, you might have to buy a lot of shoes back in your home country. British person says Yorkshire tea. Okay. Honey Nut Cheerios, Ovaltine Classic, beef and chicken varieties of Better Than Bullion, so it's a specific brand of bullion. Replacement electric toothbrush heads, okay. Larger clothes, so again, larger size stuff. Children's toys and books that are not Anpanman. I kind of disagree with that. We didn't really have any trouble finding non-Anpanman stuff ourselves. Gentleman's Relish. This is from a British person. I'd never heard of it, and I probably don't qualify, so I'd never be able to eat that relish anyways. Toothpaste. I don't have a problem with Japanese toothpaste, but okay. Sugar cereals, yeah, cereal. If you are a major cereal lover, Japan doesn't have a lot of cereal selection, and yeah, you might end up bringing it from your home country. Clothes that fit. This person is actually from Turkey. Olives, red lentils, Turkish teas, sumac, lokum, raki, local wines, Turkish cheeses, certain grades of bulgur. Bulgur? I don't know what bulgur is. So, yeah, if you're from Turkey, that might be helpful to you. From someone from the southern part of the United States, cornbread mix. Another person echoes my comment about over-the-counter medication. Root beer. Although root beer has actually become more common in Japan, you can find it. A Vietnamese friend says Vietnamese coffee. Yeah, actually, I agree. The Vietnamese coffee is pretty good. American-style Cheetos, Olive, Bisquick. 2 people say deodorant. And yeah, that's the list. That's what everyone else said. Okay. Now, let's move on to the third item on the list, which is changing your mental state or your motivations. Basically, how you can best prepare yourself mentally for having your best Japan life. Now, the first point I would make is you should always keep yourself open to trying new things and having new adventures, because it's much too easy to fall into a bubble. You carve out a space for yourself, you become comfortable in these certain situations. Everything was new when you first arrived, but you've finally surrounded yourself with familiar, and basically you've created this space that you're comfortable in, and then you get stuck there. You don't want to get stuck there. If you're 2 years in or 6 months in or 1 month in, you're like, I've been kind of doing the same thing every day, day after day, you're probably stuck in that bubble. So yeah, be sure to keep yourself open to new things and adventure even after years in Japan. To be perfectly honest, that's what this vlog is all about. One of the main reasons I do this is because it gets me out of my bubble. Like, it gets me thinking about these topics, it gets me walking neighborhoods I've never been in before. So yeah, it's definitely a way I've been able to get out of my sort of set around routine. The next thing I would recommend is get involved with your local neighborhood things. Get involved with the people who are living immediately around you. Now, this may not really apply in Tokyo, because Tokyo is pretty famous for people not knowing their neighbors. Everyone lives in apartments. So if you're living in Tokyo, this might not really apply to you. But if you're in a smaller city or the countryside, join the neighborhood association if there is one. My neighborhood has one. There's a yearly fee that we pay, and they know if you're not paying it. They know if you're not a member. Like, your neighbors will know. They'll be like, oh, the foreigner is not, trying to fit in with us and not willing to pay any money. So it's not a good look, and you really should try to become involved, because they'll have events, they'll have things that happen in the neighborhood. Our neighborhood has like a community center that you can rent and use for things if you need it. It's actually not a bad deal, so get involved. When I lived out in the countryside, there was no neighborhood association. I lived in an apartment complex, but once a month on a Saturday morning, we would all wake up and go out and clean the environment around the apartment complex. We'd pick up trash, we'd do some weeding, and we'd have conversations. We'd get to know each other, and it was actually a really good thing. And, the motivation was probably to stay in bed and sleep and, not wake up to help out. But again, your absence will be noted, so it's better to be there. And you'll meet people, you'll have conversations, and that'll also maybe open up new opportunities as well, for someone who's like, oh, my hobby is this, and you're like, oh, I would really like to try that, and then boom, you have a new thing to experience in Japan. The final thing is probably the most obvious, and I don't need to say too much about it, but don't end up in an English bubble. Try to use Japanese as much as you can, and just get out there and use it. Don't care about how good or bad it is. Just make mistakes. Talk, just blah. Just get out there and blah, 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 whatever you can muddle out. And even if people answer in English, keep trying with the Japanese. Why? I illustrate this point best, I think, by comparing myself with my friend Jason. We both arrived in Japan at the same time. We both had almost no Japanese when we started, but Jason's Japanese went like this, and mine got gradually better. The reason was, while we were both studying on the side, he just talked to people all the time, and he had no fear about making mistakes or what he was saying exactly. And as a result, he just got really good really fast. And so I see this, in my students and myself. I was worried about mistakes, so I wouldn't talk as much as I should have, or I'd wait until I could say something perfectly before I'd say it. And yeah, that's not the way to do it. My Japanese students who are studying English are much the same way. They're afraid of making mistakes. They think they need to be perfect to use the language. Just get out there and do it. So the benefits of using Japanese and learning Japanese as quickly as you can. I can't say enough about it, so definitely don't get stuck in an English bubble. All right, those are my points. If you made it to this part of the video and you still haven't hit the like button, please do so. Subscribe and join the giveaway. Again, just say chodai in the comments below, and you might win a genuine 19th century woodblock print. Thank you so very much for watching this particular video, and I put out a new one every single Friday, so please look for my future content about Japan, society, life, and culture from the viewpoint of a long-term resident. Again, thanks for watching this particular video, and I will catch you next week. Peace.